Recently, my wife did a video on how she almost missed her kingdom spouse because she did not believe God. Now, here's the crazy story. We were both at a woman's conference, and God actually spoke to her first that I was her husband. Now, God did not speak to me until 3 years later, but God wanted to jump ahead and actually tell my wife. Now, a lot of people ask this same question. Damien, why were you at a women's conference? And I want to share that story with you. How did we get here? How did you get to a women's conference? You see, I was chasing a counterfeit. And one of the things that we really want to do in our ministry and even in our coaching is to be transparent and vulnerable with you, to share some of the stuff that we did so you can avoid going down the wrong path. In that story, my wife also talked about me being Damien, the demon slayer. And so that's where it all started. 3 years before that women's conference, I actually entered into a role as prayer team leader of our young adults group. And as prayer team leader, you had to gather the young adults together and pray before service. And so one day, there was this young lady that actually walked into the room. And so that same lady was supposed to be at that women's conference 3 years later. So you can see how long I was dealing with this young lady. And so she came in, I never seen her before, and she fit my type. You see, at that time, I had this idol of loneliness and even the idol of marriage. I really felt that God was saying, Damien, start preparing. However, the idol in my heart really started to blind me to people's character and their fruit and only look at the physical appearance. So in my story today, I really want you to write things down or even ask me questions in the comments. One thing that we really want to do in all of our stories is to add value and actually give you some points. And so when we have these idols in our heart, when we have idols of loneliness, when we have idols of even marriage, we sometimes look past the red flags. And that's what happened in this story. There were so many red flags in the beginning of me trying to pursue this young lady that I was overlooking. The inconsistency of coming in and out of church, of showing up. And we call this being a bird type person. This person will create a nest around you and fly in and out of your life. This person actually was going to church and then you don't see them. And so I ended up chasing this young lady over the next months. And I learned that somebody was trying to engage her while I was trying to pursue her, but she never told me. And so this is the type of person that I was trying to deal with. I even broke boundaries with this person. Now, again, I entered into my marriage as a virgin. However, I actually went to her house with nobody knowing. And so I was breaking boundaries. We never kissed or anything. But that's a boundary that you should not break. You should never go into someone's house without your accountability knowing. You see, I also broke boundaries while even giving her money. When she had car issues or house issues, or even she needed gas, I was giving her money. Now, I don't believe it's bad to do that, but when you're trying to pursue someone and you're using money to woo her heart, that is not wise and it's actually manipulation. And so these are some of the things that I was doing in this situation, and it was not a good relationship. Now, I want to pause here and talk to that single or that dating couple who wants to do relationships the right way. You don't want to be like me. You don't want to break boundaries. You don't want to overlook red flags. You have the time, the energy, and also the resources to invest in your relationship journey. Now, in the description below is a link to an application. Fill that application out and jump on a call with us. On that call, we want to see where you are, where you want to go, and develop a roadmap so you can honor God in your relationship. Now, I want to fast forward the story to the women's conference where God actually told Kenady that I was her husband. And so again, I'm chasing this young lady. It's been like 3 years. She was going in and out of my life. And I knew she told me that she was going to be there. Now, here's a part that I never shared before. This place, this chapel was actually on the campus where my dad taught. Now, this is crazy. Like, my dad actually teaches at this school, and I was there trying to chase another woman. And I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for this young lady to walk in, and I see some of the people from my church, and they was looking at me. They was like, Damien, what are you doing here? It's like, man, I'm just trying to, praise the Lord. Can a man come to a conference knowing it was a woman conference, right? And so I'm just sitting there and I'm just getting heated and heated because 15 minutes goes by, 30 minutes goes by, an hour goes by, and this young lady never shows up. Now, I'm going to be honest, the conference was fire. Like everybody who spoke, the prayers, and all of those things, I was still upset. I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed because this young lady told me she was going to be there and she did not show up. So at the end of the conference, the organizer came up to me and asked me to come to the altar and start praying for people. Because again, my name was Damien the Demon Slayer. And so I'm up there and I said, yeah, I just pray for everybody. That's what I do. That's what people know me as. And I'm standing up there and I see the father of the organizer going around and blessing people. Now, I'm not really understanding what he is saying, but I know that he is putting a cross on people's head. And Kenady says in her story that he said something different to her. And so Kenady is standing in line and I'm just waiting for somebody. Nobody comes to me. And the next thing you know, Kenady is next. And so I see Kenady and we make eye contact. Like literally we make eye contact. However, she puts her head down like that. Like she didn't even see me. And I was like, Kenady, you saw me. Like, why are you lying in church? And so the mother of the organizer actually guides Kenady to me and said, hey, yeah, he's open. And Kenady was like, yeah, hey, Damien, how are you? I didn't see you there. Like, yes, you did, Kenady. Like we actually made eye contact. And so Kenady walks up and she puts her hand in my hand. And I asked her, I said, what's going on, Kenady? And Kenady said a generic thing that I've heard a lot over the years. And Kenady said, can you just pray for fear? And so I said, okay, yeah, I'll pray for fear. And next thing you know, I felt the Lord say, just pray in the spirit. And so I was just praying in the spirit. And I said this thing that came to my mind, and Kenady started to weep. It was like an ugly cry. She was like, boo-hoo cried. And I said another thing and another thing, and she actually fell back into a chair. And I said, oh my goodness, like what's she going through, right? And I get on my knee and I was holding her hand and I see Kenady. She had her like her face down, and again, it was tears, snot, and everything. And they come and give her some tissues. And I had my hand in her hand, and she looks up to me like she was startled a little bit. And she's like backing up. And I was like, okay, let me just get another woman over here to help with Kenady because I don't know what she's going through, but this is a lot. I think the organizer's mom actually came over and assisted in another young lady. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. It's kind of awkward. And I left, and I guess I stood on the side for a little bit, and then I left. And a couple years later, it was all she wrote. Like God actually unveiled Kenady to me. So I just really wanted to share this story because sometimes we are waiting on our kingdom spouse. We are waiting for God's promise in our life. However, God needs to do a work in us. Now, one of the things that we always say is don't walk through this journey alone. And so if you are a single or a dating couple who can relate to some of these stories that me and Kenady try to share on our channel, and if you have the energy, the resources, or even the time to invest in your relationship journey, we will love to speak to you. We have coached several people now, and we have talked to hundreds around the world about their relationship. And week after week, we continue to hear stories of transformation. We help people face their sabotage cycles, walk with individuals through soul care, whether it's facing their identity issues or even fear and even loneliness in their life. We also help you build your boundaries. In the description below is a link to an application. Fill that application out and jump on a call with us. On that call, we want to see where you are, where you want to go, and develop a roadmap so you can honor God in your relationship. Now, if you want to see Kenady's video on how she almost missed her kingdom spouse, you can watch this video right here.